June 6th, 2020. Just a very brief update in the apiary here. Apparently I dropped 2 of those pieces of tin bringing them up, so I have to go back down later today and pick them back up. But I think those are going to work good for keeping the weeds down right in front of the hives. And we have good activity here in the apiary, lots of traffic. It's probably 80 or 85 degrees, relatively humid. Some sun, but kind of hazy. We have good traffic. And I'm very happy to see all 4 of these hives are doing really well. And I'm just going to keep promoting their brilliance, as Ian Stepler would say. And that's really exciting. I think, knock on wood, I think this is going to be a good season for honeybees. At least it has been so far. So we went from the one left-hand hive early season. I did a split. That's the second hive over from the left. And then these other 2 were swarm captures. And they're all thriving. And then, when I wasn't looking for a couple of days, this top bar hive that was empty picked up a swarm all on its own. And that's thriving as well. So, we got 5 hives back from 1. We had 1 hive in the beginning of April, and now it's just the beginning of June. And we've got 5, and we've got a massive honey flow coming on. If we can get some rain, that honey flow would really be amplified more. It's June 6th, 2020. Just taking a few minutes to observe the bees here. All 4 hives are really doing well. See all the fanners with the Nasonov gland in the air, fanning out the pheromone of the hive. The drone there was the struggling guy that was there a second ago. I think that might be one there too. A lot of workers coming in and out. Look at those beautiful little wings fluttering in a beautiful pattern. These creatures are so incredible to watch. Got more fanners back in there. Making sure there's airflow through the hive to evaporate all the nectar they're pulling in. Same thing going on over here. With the close-up you can see how they're actually like fanning their wings in sort of a resonance. It would be cool to get a microphone up close to them, record that sound, and see what the frequency is. And like watch the sine waves or watch the audio waves on a scope to visualize it. But this is a split colony. I think I mentioned earlier in the week in another video that we have a laying queen in there now. Went through all sorts of issues with that colony. Getting a working queen, but thanks to my friend Bob at Black Bear Apiary, we got that straightened out. We just brought a queen cell over from the other hive to the left and gave her time to hatch out and mate. Sorry, I got a bug on me. Yeah, so there's that. Let's try this now. That's a little better. Same deal. Moving lots of air. Traffic is definitely a little lighter on this colony. But this is a fairly small swarm. So I'll be patient. And this is the second swarm that we captured. By the time I captured this one, I actually kind of had to catch a swarm down relatively quick and easily. Felt good to finally kind of master that skill. Again, thanks to my friend Bob, Black Bear Apiary, and also Frederick Dunn and Ian Stepler. Those guys really have taught me a tremendous amount of information about bees and how to manage and capture and all that. But Bob tuned me into the swarm bucket, and I don't actually. He made me a swarm bucket, and we haven't actually been able to hook up in person again. But meantime, I just used a 5-gallon bucket because I didn't have to transport them. I just had to catch them and put them into a hive colony. Anyway, so I just captured them. It's pretty simple and easy now. And these guys are thriving. Like, this queen went right to work laying eggs, like right away. And I could tell that just by how fast the number coming in and out of the colony expanded after we got them into the hive. So I just thought I would do a little bit closer observation, a little bit more time studying the bees. I know I do some short and fast updates, but sometimes it's just nice to really take a closer look at what's going on. Coming up probably next week, this is a Friday, probably early to middle of next week, I'm going to try and open these up and have a closer look at things. I'll try and get a shot of the brood in that split, and we'll have a look at these other 2 swarms and see what they're doing. And I'm going to have to get some more boxes on here soon, make extra room so they can be drawing comb out and collecting nectar. And we've been promised rain several times, but we haven't really had any for about 3 weeks, and it's been fairly hot and sunny overall. So things are really dry, and we could use a bump in rain. If we get that, that will really boost nectar production, and I'm sure I'll have to be ready to make some space. Okay, well, I just thought I would babble on about the bees a bit. I know some of my viewers find it interesting, and they aren't beekeepers, and I often don't go into a lot of detail about things, so I thought I would provide a little more insight on my colonies and what's going on with them. Don't mind the breeze. Just thought you might like a wider view where you can see their flight path. Maybe I'll slow-mo some of this video. purposes of my log and hive tracking, and so other people can understand how I track my honeybee hives. The hive all the way on the left is 18 OR1. That means it was acquired in 2018. It's original, and it's never been replaced, basically. And that was the first of 3 hives that were here from that move. 2 of those died late this spring of 2020. So April 7th, 2020, I did a split. That's the blue box hive right here. And then, so that's 20 S1. So that would be 2020 split 1. Went through a variation of issues getting a happy, healthy laying queen in there, but we have one now, and she's doing an excellent job. She's laying a beautiful brood pattern. We'll get into that next week. So then these other 2 on the right hand side are 20 SC1 and 20 SC2 respectively. SC1 for 2020 swarm capture 1, and SC2 for 2020 swarm capture 2. And then all of these are labeled the split and the 2 swarm captures because they came from the left hand hive, 18OR1. All of these are DE 18OR1, indicating that the swarms came from 18OR1, or the split was taken from 18OR1. This provides 2 levels of genetic tracking to understand where they came from. I probably will carry this out into a better system, possibly with a mind map at some point. But for now, I'm just trying to keep track of generations, where they came from, when they were made, etc., etc. So just a short rundown on what these are, and we'll go look at the top bar hive quick. Alright, so this is the top bar hive. This will be TB21, probably with a dash between the 20 and the 1. So this is top bar. Actually, it should be TB20 SC1, because this is a swarm capture. And all I did was leave the hive out here set up, and a swarm came in. And I believe them to be a wild colony or from someone else's hives, because they are very dark in color in comparison to everything that came from 18OR1 in those splits and swarms. So I suspect this is an entirely different colony. Although I could be wrong, who knows. But my intuition and my gut tells me these guys are from a wild colony, which I'm very excited to have that genetics added to my apiary within mating range. If anything was going to come in from outside genetics, besides the bees that I have already, that I love their mannerism and their productivity, I think it would be these guys. And so far these guys have been very docile also. When I put the roof on, they didn't really bat an eyelash at me, and I've worked around out here. You know, I put that second tin roof on, and those pieces of wood on. I came out here with no shirt on, no suit, no nothing, and they didn't even really bat an eyelash at me. So they're nice and docile and sweet. And I haven't opened this hive up yet, but the main reason for keeping this hive, from my perspective, is that this colony will grow huge, and then it will produce lots of swarms. And then those swarms can be captured and populated into new hives to build the apiary up. So that's kind of my perspective on it. The guy who had the bees before these, my friend Joe, actually was talking about he would get somewhere between 5 and 10 swarms a year out of this hive when he had it occupied over at the other farm that this came from. And so luckily enough, it automatically populated itself, and I didn't even have to get out a bucket and capture the swarm. So I was very stoked about that. Easy win. At some point, I probably will open this hive up and do an inspection just to have a look. Uh-oh, there's a wasp moving in. He's going to get himself in trouble. But for now, I'm just leaving it be. My theory with things is, along the lines of study and mimic nature, is do minimal disturbance. The less you disturb the natural processes, the less likely you are to cause unnecessary negative effects or interference. And I try to hold that true here on this farm as much as I can. And if ignorance is bliss, then knowledge is responsibility. I have to say that sound is very soothing. These carpenter bees have been all around eyeing the hives.